I think wealthy people do contribute a lot, and having a percentage of something is better than having nothing. If you up the percentage, they'll just move over to somewhere like Monaco or go and change their homestead to somewhere else. Upping the tax for the wealthiest doesn't necessarily bring in more tax. It just incentivises top earning bright people to leave our country to work somewhere where they don't get taxed as much.
Do you think you pay too much tax?
Yes.
Too much tax, yeah.
I think I pay probably about the right amount of tax. I think there are certain people in the country that aren't paying enough.
You've got to pay it, death and taxes. They're the only two things that are definite in life, aren't they? Listen, you pay your taxes. You either move, you vote with your feet, you go and live in the Isle of Man or the Isle of Wight or wherever you go, or you sit here and take it. I think we sit here and take it, don't we?
I wouldn't mind paying so much tax if they use the money well, rather than it just going into a big black hole and for no benefit.
Do you think Labour's going to do a better job?
No.
Are you going to vote Conservative then?
I've got no idea who I'm going to vote for because none of the options are credible.
What would you like to see it used for? How do you think it should be spent?
I think just more efficiently. So no one will touch the NHS. It needs massive reform, but they're all afraid to touch it because there's this irrational belief that it's the perfect thing, whereas you look at systems around Europe and elsewhere, there's a lot that could be learned.
I think the NHS gets too much money. It's just badly run, and I think it's a bit of a red herring, all of this about the NHS. I think obviously the important thing is the defence of the realm and all that.
Do you think you pay too much tax?
Yes.
What tax bracket are you in?
The highest.
Why do you think you pay too much tax?
Because it's a huge chunk of your salary that then goes and you never see it out your pay slip.
Do you think it's used in the right way?
Not that you can see. It might do behind the scenes, but in terms of if you look at the NHS or things like that, you can't see where that money's being spent.
Why do you think you pay too much tax?
Because money gets wasted and it doesn't use efficiently. So I wouldn't mind paying more tax if it was being used more efficiently. That's why I think we pay too much tax, because it's being inefficiently spent.
And who's wasting it? Who's managing it badly?
It's just the impression that I get when I speak to people who work in councils, and the length of time it takes to do projects or to get turnarounds on investment into whatever it be, infrastructure, healthcare, social reform, those people I spoke to.
Do you think that you pay too much tax?
I think the taxation rate as it stands is pretty fair, tax the rich.
Is that what you really think? I can't quite tell if you're being serious.
No, genuinely, yeah.
Are you in the top tax bracket, middle tax?
No, I think I'm in the lowest tax bracket currently.
Do you think people on 125k plus should pay more tax?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about distributing the wealth as much as possible. Some people have had much better chances in life, and they shouldn't be earning considerably less because of that. So I think distributing the wealth is a good thing.
And when you earn more money, would you be happy to pay more tax?
Yeah, I think so. Cool. I mean, it's much easier to say that than it is to act on it, but that's what I believe.
Okay. Why do you think you pay too much?
Because lots of my money goes, when I look at my pay slip, about 600, 700 pounds goes in taxes, while you got many people in benefit sitting down, just getting out of people who are paying taxes.
Do you think people on 125, 200k tax bracket should they pay more tax?
They should pay more tax, definitely.
What tax bracket are you in?
Below 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basic.
Would you be happy to pay more tax if?
No.
Okay. I think that the pressure on tax for the working person has just become too much. The pensioners that have been dragged into it because of the thresholds is just not a good move. So yeah, the whole thing needs an overhaul.
Can I ask what tax bracket you're in?
The top tax bracket.
And you're happy to pay the amount of tax that you pay?
Yeah.
Because you feel?
I'm part of society. That's it. I mean, I'm contributing.
Yeah.
And it's important that I do.
How do you feel about the state of the country at the moment?
shocking. Absolutely, yeah. The establishment have basically taken everything from people who can't afford it. The least people who can least afford it are paying a heavy price. And it just, the whole system, the way that we do politics, House of Lords, proportional representation, it's just not working anymore.
Maybe it could be, it's quite a big bracket, so I think maybe it could be changed so that it's tiered rather than just one big amount on that top bracket.
If it was spent better or managed better, would that change things for you?
Yes, yeah. If you could see that it was going into the right places, helping the right things, then yes, but at the moment you can't see anywhere that it's going.
I think what's unfair is that, you know, people who work very, and I know several people who have come out of the military, for example, and they work really, really hard, and they set up a new business and they work really hard to get that, and then, you know, they end up getting a good income because they've worked for it, and then get, you know, they're paying like 40%, 60% on their income. So every £2 they earn, £1 of that goes in tax, and there's not enough. There's no incentive then. You know what I mean? I just have personal experience of people who are getting absolutely hammered for tax just because they've worked hard to get where they are, and I think that's a bit unfair. And I think if you had a rate of tax that everybody paid the same, the fact that you're earning lots of money, you will still be paying lots and lots of money in tax because you're earning that. You know what I mean? And I think you'd have a much more happier society because of that.
Do you think people on higher incomes should be taxed more?
Top incomes, yes.
What would
Not
you?
necessarily the people around here in the city where they all think we're millionaires. No, it's not.
So everyone around here is not a millionaire?
Well, I'm sure there's a few of them.
Where do you think that top bracket should start? Because it's 125,000 at the moment.
Yeah, but it's the people who are self-employed and the millionaires, the billionaires. It's not the people who are sort of the lower and middle class. It's the ones above. There's a lot of people who live in a house that's worth about £1 million in London. Doesn't mean say they're millionaires.
So you would like to see those people taxed higher?
No, the people who are taxed, who live in the very, very big £20 million houses, that sort of thing.
Is anyone offering that? Is any of the politicians offering that?
I don't think they are.
What is the state of the country as far as you're concerned?
I think maybe the state of the country is people are quite dramatic about it. I think it's not as bad as people say it is, but it definitely needs to be fixed. We have big issues and long-term issues that need changing, but all of it can be taken back to austerity and lack of funding in infrastructure and just our economy generally. So all you need to do is ideally have Labour come in, have quite a lot of spending, maybe increase taxes, which is difficult because it's cost of living crisis, but until we invest in our own infrastructure and things like that, you're not going to see the upturn in the economy that we need. Like, we were the only country with negative growth in Europe, including Russia during a war and Ukraine during a war. So it's crazy to think that we're the only ones that can't make it, and the only consistent thing that's causing that is the Conservative government. They've had 14 years to fix things and haven't, so
Why are you going to vote Conservative this year?
Because I vote Conservative every year, apart from Tony Blair's first premiership.
Yeah.
You vote where your heart lies, don't you? I'm a Conservative, small C and big C.
Okay, and do you think that they've done well with the country?
That is a very good question. In some aspects, but 14 years is too long, isn't it? I think you have to have a change eventually, don't you? People just get tired, sick to the back teeth, don't they? So,
do you think they've got a good record on the economy?
They did until recently. Yeah, I mean, generally yes, but the last couple of years have been pretty poor, haven't they? But then, COVID, no one expected that, and it has shocked the economy. There was always going to be high inflation after that, and they've been trying to sort that out. I just think they've run their course, haven't they? And in 8 years' time, we'll be bored of Labour, and it'll flip-flop again, won't it?
What do you think needs to change?
Well, I think more honesty for a start. I think there's clearly something lacking in what they're all saying really there. If we're not increasing borrowing and we're not increasing taxes, where does the money come from?
Do you think taxes need to be increased for the wealthier?
I do, yeah.
Can I ask what tax bracket you're in?
I'm high, yeah.
Would you be happy to pay more tax if you could afford it?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think as long as it's a collective, enterprise across the country, I think, we should all feel that tax is a means of investing in the country and securing its future. But as I say, it needs to be equitable. I think, quite often people that earn regular money are the ones that are more easily taxed, and I think they often take a unfair share of the burden.
You pay too much tax,
All
yeah?
of us pay too much tax, yeah. This is one of the highest taxed countries in Europe. So we all pay too much tax, yeah, on everything.
I think
took 1.1 trillion last year in taxes in the UK, just in the UK. That's 12 zeros.
Do you so when you say that you pay too much tax, or that we all pay too much tax, the tax is obviously going to support
anything. It's not going to anything. They don't tax us to fund anything. That's not how the system works. You think that's how taxation works? That tax goes into a fund that then pays it. That's not how it works.
Tell me how it works.
It doesn't work like that.
Well, I mean, tax is supposed to go into the NHS, it's supposed to go into defence, it's supposed to go into education. So tell me how it works.
You can go on the internet and Google how taxation works and how these institutions are properly funded, but it's not from our taxation.
Do you think the country is in a mess?
Of course it's in a mess, yeah.
So how do you think we get out of the mess?
Oh, that's a big, broad question I don't have the answers to now, but...
Do you know who you'll vote for?
I'm not going to vote. I don't want to be part of voting for whoever's going to destroy the country even more than it's already destroyed.
So you don't obviously want to see taxes increased to...
I'd like to see taxes come down, but there's lots of things I'd like to see changed and governed properly. Taxation problem is just one thing.
Well, it's always been the British mentality that we're in this mire, so we'll all dig in. But the problem is, it's always the people at the bottom that are digging in, and the people at the top are watching the people digging in at the bottom.
And where do you feel like you fall in that?
I'm at the bottom.
Okay.
It's the bottom digging in.
The bottom, the very top.
I'm always at the bottom digging in.